And over Ole Miss. Make no mistake about it. I don't think anybody is going to argue with that statement that it was a big time win over Ole Miss football on Saturday. That's a win that two things are going to be. Kentucky fans, the players, the coaches, the university will remember that for a very long time. I hope that it's not that many years in between when we can go on the road and get a big time win against a top 10 team in their house. It always feels special to go beat somebody at their house. Ole Miss, number two, Ole Miss would deal with this for a long time to go. It's probably going to be some major implications for Ole Miss. For the simple fact is, a lot of people had them going as being a team that was most definitely going to be in the college playoffs. In the college playoffs this year for football, and some people actually had them going a long way in that playoffs. Now it kind of puts Ole Miss in a situation where those guys have, in a sense, almost has to win out. Georgia losing helped them out, but they still got to go play. But they still got to play Georgia. So now I think the winner of that game is probably going to be the one of the two who's going to end up in the college playoffs. I still think Georgia's a really solid team. I think Ole Miss is a good team, but I think, as I said before, a lot of people out there did not believe that Kentucky had a chance to go to Ole Miss and win that football game. When you look at the schedules, when you looked at how everything was going to break down, when you looked at who Ole Miss was playing coming into before they had to play Kentucky, which was nobody, you seen who Kentucky had to play, and despite that horrible loss that we took against South Carolina, that I feel in my heart that we totally said, South Carolina just barely beat Old Dominion. Oh, we got this game, and they completely looked over it. I think that football game against South Carolina got our attention because it showed when we came out against Georgia. And we had a few certain calls against Georgia that we'll be talking about totally different things right now. Totally different things for Kentucky football. They would be ranked this week, especially if they would have went in still and would have beat Ole Miss. We took care of Ohio the way that we were supposed to, which is all fine and dandy. My thing is this: when you talk, I always like to talk about building confidence. Ohio wasn't a collective team building ball game that, as far as we can build confidence for Kentucky. Ohio was one of those games where you take it and you try to have individual players to step up their game so they can build confidence, i.e., look at what Key did against Ohio. That same performance that he put together against Ohio gave him the confidence that he needed to go in and to play the way he did against Ole Miss on the road, and you can see how that trickled down. Now, will that continue on the next and the next and next game? It's still to be seen as far as can this right here be a trend for Key, because clearly outside of the long catch from Brown, Key was definitely the best receiver of the ball game for Kentucky, hands down, no questions asked whatsoever. Um, so but for Ole Miss, it was a team you started with Georgia, the way we played Georgia, the way we held Georgia to 13 points. That was a team moment of building confidence. Now you go on the road to Ole Miss and you beat Ole Miss. You can still have the individual accolades. You can still have the individuals who's building their confidence. Brock probably built his confidence. Key probably continued to build his. Brown just having that long catch built got the O line blocked pretty good on run time. So individual players and whatnot can actually build confidence against Ole Miss. But I think overall, the Ole Miss game, Kentucky as a whole, as a team, built the confidence needing that if we put everything together, if we believe in each other, if we can believe that we can go on the road and that we can get a W, and we put our heads together and we keep fighting, no matter what it looks like, we can win some games on the road. And I think that's the kind of game that it actually was at Ole Miss, is that the team built some good confidence. Here you go. You go on the road and you beat the number 6 team in the nation. You give the number 1 team all they wanted. It goes down to the wire against Georgia. Like Kentucky football, and people's going to say, well, it's just Kentucky football. People are going to say about the Kentucky and Ole Miss game, if you play Ole Miss and Kentucky 10 times, Kentucky's probably only going to win that one time. I'm not even going to sit here and argue with that. That could be the case. All you have to do as a football team is be better on that one day. It doesn't matter. Just that one day, you can say that, well, Ole Miss is a much better team than Kentucky. I don't care if Kentucky won the ball game. It doesn't matter. Oh, it doesn't matter if Ole Miss is a better team than Kentucky. It does not matter. Kentucky was better on that day when it mattered the most, and Kentucky took care of business, and that's what's so important about this win over Ole Miss. That's why it's so good, because we took care of business on that day, and we was a better team. And no one can take this away from us. No one can say, well, we're gonna go back. There's no asterisks. There's no, well, blah blah blah. I mean, Ole Miss got guys faking injuries in the middle of the ball game on purpose. So we played. And let me tell you something else about the team confidence that we can take away from that. We didn't have Chip, which we didn't have Chip. We didn't have Harrison. We didn't have one of our key linemen, and I can't think of his name right off the bat. And we didn't have our lineman. He was out that game too. So we was missing key people. Now, I don't really know what kind of effect Chip would or would not have on the game, but our running backs really showed up and really played a good game against Ole Miss. So I'm not really sure what kind of effect Chip would have had. But it's still good to have him. He's still a big running back. You still got to account for him, and you still got to have the defense to be able to tackle him and bring him down. So that is some more confidence. If we looking at how we build confidence from this ball game, is that we didn't have our best guys, some of our better guys, and we still got the game, and we still won the ball game, and we still did enough in order to get the victory on the road at Ole Miss, and that's what's so special. But now that's over, and now that we got a bye week, a chance for us to coming off a bye week for Kentucky is just it's not good. I think the last time Vandy came to town was off a bye week, and they beat us in Lexington. So the last time Vandy came up the road to Lexington, they left with a W. That can't happen. So coming down off the high, we beat Ole Miss. Let's all rah-rah. Let's all have a good time. Let's all celebrate this Sunday. But we still got a season. First of all, we're still trying to make a bowl game. Got to get to that 6 games. And I think being 3-2 right now, going into the bye week, and now we set ourselves up with Vanderbilt, who's not necessarily going to be a pushover. I think they got a solid quarterback who came over. Then we got, I think it's Florida. Is it Florida? Let me see. I got it right here if it comes up. Then we got Florida, and then we got Auburn. Vanderbilt is not just a pushover. I'm not going to go out there and just say Kentucky is absolutely going. I mean, and it's strange. And I guess I'm being humble. I guess I'm not getting ahead of myself. Of course, people ask me, we should beat Vandy, but Vandy's not the same Vandy team that they've been. They got a good quarterback. These guys come out. These guys play with confidence, that's for sure. Then we got Florida. Florida's always going to be Florida. People can say, well, Florida's a hot mess. Florida's no good. Florida's garbage. Okay, that's fine. But on that one day, only thing Florida, only thing Vandy, only thing Auburn has to do is just be better than Kentucky. I really hope that moving forward, especially coming off a bye week, that when we step on the field against Vanderbilt, we're ready to go and that we're locked in and we're not coming out flat. This is on the coaches. The coaches, get your players ready to play. Understand, keep their mind where it needs to be at with the less distractions, and understand that Vanderbilt wants to come in here and they want to win this ball game because they're not afraid. They're not. And this is just not something that we're going to be able to say, yeah, this is a win. I wish I could. I really wish I could. But coming off a bye week, you just don't know which version of Kentucky football that you're going to get. Is it going to be the version that comes out and says, okay, we did something special against Ole Miss. Let's keep this up. Or we beat Ole Miss. No, we all right. We can just come out. We can just play football, whatever. We'll lose. No, the fans are going to be in the house for that Vandy game. If you don't think people are not going to show up for that Vandy game, People want to see that football game, and Vandy want to see that football game. So we got to show up and we got to do what we got to do against Vandy, and let's get this W. I don't know why. Please call me crazy because I cannot remember the last time that I've been so excited to play Vandy. Like I just am. I can't wait to play Vandy. And I don't know what I don't know what I'll do mentally if we lose that ball game. I'm gonna just put my head in the sand. I don't know, but we gotta win that ball game. We just gotta win that ball game. Then we got Florida. Like I said, Florida is Florida. We gotta go. We gotta play them there. It's just not going to be an easy game. Florida's going to come out and Florida's going to win that ball game. And I don't care how bad people say Florida is. I get it, but it's still Florida. Florida still recruits good. We just got to see how it all turns out when we go down to Florida. And then we got Auburn at home. Auburn, people, Auburn's not all that good this year, all blah, blah, blah. Still, once again, it's the same thing for Ole Miss playing Kentucky, against South Carolina playing Kentucky. People just looking over people just because, well, they ain't having the best season, or they ain't really got this, or they're not really doing that. So that right there should be a W. No, none of these games is a guaranteed win. We're gonna have to go out there week after week and play some serious football. We can end, we can end after the Auburn game and we can be bowl eligible. We can be 6-2 at that point. The loss to South Carolina and what's name. And we could be 6-2 going into the Tennessee football game on the road at Tennessee, which I feel is not necessarily a game that we cannot lose. I feel that we can have the opportunity to go down there. We understand now that here's the difference between Tennessee and Ole Miss. By the time we play Tennessee, Tennessee has well already been tested. They have already been tested. They've already played some solid football games before our defense sees them. Ole Miss didn't do that. Ole Miss hasn't seen nobody like Kentucky for the 4 games that they played. So we got to set ourselves up. We got to take advantage of these next 3 ball games. And I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want to take it one game at a time. But if Kentucky football wants to change the narrative after the horrible loss of South Carolina and people throwing in the towels on the coaches, on the players, on the program, all as a whole, we must go out and get these wins against Vandy, against Florida, and against Auburn. Going into Tennessee 6-2, that is beautiful. Now, we wish we had an opportunity. If we would have showed up, we could have been 8-0. We could have beat South Carolina if we would have showed up and took them serious. If we would have, if our coaching staff would have believed in them a little bit more and maybe went for it when they punted it, maybe we could be talking about an 8-0 season right now. But we're not. We're talking about a two-loss team right now that can possibly be 6-2 if we can take care of business. We could be bowl eligible coming out of the Auburn game. Period. And with the Vandy, with the Florida, with the Auburn, with the Ole Miss, man, those are, you know what I'm saying? That's solid. That's 4 solid wins right there in the SEC. We got to take care of business. And I cannot believe that I'm putting so much emphasis on the Vandy game. Maybe because it's personal. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is, but I don't want to lose to Vandy. I lose to Florida, but I don't want to lose to Vandy. Not on our field. Don't let Vandy come in there and beat us. Period. Vandy, you're going to lose. I'll go ahead and just call it like it is. But I think if the Cats really, really want to have that, where that monkey off their back, and if they really want to say that this year can still be a very good year overall, then we have to go out and we have to take care of business against Vandy, against Florida, and against Auburn. We just do. And if we can do that, then I feel like that we can take care of business, that we can be a team. It can be a team that the fans can be proud of. We will still have that sour taste of South Carolina. But I think winning a game on the road in Ole Miss, it gives you a moment of pause. It causes you to kind of forget what happened against South Carolina. It says, okay, we regrouped. Let's continue on this path. Let's continue doing something really solid this year, and let's see if we continue to make this year very special. And I think if they show up, get ready during the bye week, come out on fire. Don't come out, let Vandy come out and have confidence. Let's come out with confidence. Let's come out flying high. Let's protect Kroger Field, and let's get this W. Cats after Auburn should be 6-2. Go Cats.